So thank you very much to the producers and production team. They are moving us along as picks and bans are ready to go forward to advance. I'm going to turn back to you, Goldberg, now as we set up 4 drops on screen in a second. What are the challenges here? As I mentioned, Mad Lions have had a questionable spring, but I think Fnatic are on an uptick. I still, however, think I would lean towards favoring Mad Lions, but definitely not strongly.
Yeah, and I also think just going into the pick and ban that so much of it is about taking away some of the comforts from Fnatic, right? Getting rid of the Sire that Reckless has been very happy about. The Vi, if you see that as a potential threat against Wrestle. Even having the respect ban towards DSC if you move into the second is something to look out for.
I think another key thing to watch out for Mad Lions is just make sure that Hilly doesn't end up on Rakan on Annie. I think that Hilly needs to find ways to be the playmaker in his team, and I hope that they've kind of elaborated on how to set up cases like that, because Adrian doesn't seem keen to play the range supports in Champions either.
Well, he's played them, but has he played them to what we would usually like to see? I think that's where it falters in that regard. Now, last ban as well. Rakan's already been taken away from Hylissang, which is quite interesting because it's just respect ban. You see that against some of the best players on the champion as well, even when Sire is out of the picture. And you said playmaking for Hylissang, so that makes a lot of sense.
And if you are just joining us for hours and hours and hours, both Yamato and Goldborg have talked about the Xayah, have talked about the Vi, talked about the impact that it has had. I think the Azir was something else we mentioned during Ready Check as well as picks that Fnatic could look to. But it is going to be the Sedge one, so Yamato, I'm going to come to you immediately. Mad Lions at least watch the same games that you watched, I think was the statement you made, and now it's up to them to decide what they lock in. Do you like the Sedge first pick?
I like it. I think it gives you flexibility. I think it doesn't have that hard losing matchups. I think this champion goes well in a lot of cases, and that's the lock-in of the engage. I love to see Hilly on champions that is going to make him strong in the 3v3, and that is the best version of Mad Lions that we always see when they do well.
It's also something to anticipate a potential Seri pick. We have seen Reckless default to that when the Varus and Sire has been out of the way. Varus still up and available if that's something he wants to look back on as well, but Nautilus already great engage.
Maybe they go Braum?
Yeah.
Braum Varus?
Yeah, that
there
would
it
be
is.
nice.
What makes you think the Braum Varus? Why do you like that into what you're facing from Mad Lions?
Just the fact that Nautilus is shown up as a blind pick 1-2. Usually you save support pick till 3, and now Braum and Varus is going to be like the easy lock-in because you have a very strong matchup. The enemy is going to have a hard time finding an AD pick. Maybe they have to like slam a Aphelios. Okay, classic Reckless Jinx. We're in Sweden, maybe?
But just don't start. Just start is where I want to go with that one. I hate that line. It has haunted me for years. I did want to take a quick look. Varus was a champion. He's played 4 times this year. And I am looking up the Jinx figures here for Reckless. 26 games, 65% win ratio. The thing I do like, though, was I think about Reckless and finding a positive impact on the game. That is a champion you can do so, GB.
Sure can, and I think as well, if you go into this one, you definitely have to ban away some of the Sylas, some of the other things as well, but they're just going to go straight into a classic combination down in that bot side as well. It is going to be the Nautilus and Kai'Sa as well being picked up here. So, Solo Lane is still available for Fnatic here. Gragas, of course, being banned away, so Nisqy not looking to flex that into the second ban phase, but once again, Mad Lions look at that Solo Lanes.
I think a very key thing here for Mad is to just ban away the mages on mid. I think if they remove the mages, last pick mid, they can set up cases where they play Ahri or Lissandra just to find additional synergy and additional ways to hard commit into the enemy. I think it's going to be very important to make sure that you can actually break the enemy comp. But right now, this looks so durable. Their composition is so blue. It gives me flashbacks to metas where Sejuani Braum 1-2 was just free win.
I like that. The color of the comp playing in your favor. One thing I will mention as we're in phase 2, that Kai'Sa pick in for Kazi, it is the first time that he's played it all year here in Europe. However, it is his most played champion. Over 300 professional games, 46 of them are on the champion. So it is definitely something with a ton of experience under his name. Jax, Renekton, Jace, all banned away from the pool. So GB, now we're going to start looking at these solo laners. Oscarinen and Humanoid, what are they going to play? And what is Chasey going to look to do? Who gets the counter pick? My instinct would be Chasey, but you can really take it either direction.
Yeah, I mean, they're banning away top laner, so they could be looking for a blind top lane as well. I'm really just looking at the composition right now as a whole for Mad Lions. You already have some good dive-in potential, so I'm wondering, do you want to continue to complement that by going for further dive as well? But are you looking for a control mage? Asir is still up and available, something we know Humanoid has been very fond of. But even if you blind pick that right now, there will still be answers.
I feel like the Azir is going to be the most contested thing. Either they pick Azir themselves or they look to 5-pick maybe with an answer like Ahri with synergy with Lee and Nautilus just to snowball the game and have this full commit to composition.
Right.
just a GP Azir, and Fnatic is just gonna wait out the game and go to draft Nirvana.
Yeah, but surely this just has to be a C. You already have a good team fight composition. You have a front line with the Sejuani. You have the peel with the Braum as well. You just need a staple up in the top side. Don't have to make it fancy. Can go for the Malphite. We've already seen the matchup into now earlier today between Odoamne and Segenda. So if you don't want to play for that top side, just want to play for the scale, the team fights, I mean, Fnatic's composition is already super easy to execute just from what they've drafted.
I think time is definitely their friend here. I don't think Gnar complements his composition that well. It's just kind of a blind pick champion that is going to lane well. I hope that Niski definitely saved something very powerful here for 5 pick. Wow, that's the Olaf.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. That is the first Olaf of spring in any role, and that is only the second ever Olaf pick for Oscar. And the one time we played a prior, he did win that game. And that's another blue-ish champion there. Only Azir, the odd one out, Yamato.
That's the Freljord. At least, you know, I like the fact that Olaf comes in here because Olaf was banned for 5 in one of the other games that Fnatic actually won. I think, wow, we just have Mad Lions. They need to brawl it out super hard early game, but this is going to be a very tough game as time goes on. This is so hard to play out.
GB, build on this. We've got less than a minute before we head over to our casters. How do the comps win, and why are Mad Lions on the clock?
Well, Mad Lions really need to skirmish at 6 and fast, because when the item starts coming through from the Jinx, from the Asi, you look at that front line as well, it becomes too easy for them to play the compositions that they're playing into as well, with the context of Mad Lions draft as well. On the contrary though, Mad Lions do have the skirmish power. You get the CC from Sylas, you have the Nautilus as well. So it's about that link up between Elyoya, Niski and Hylissang. They really need to make it work in the early game.
It's like Mad Lions need to send in everything. Level 1, find an invade, burn flashes. They need to make sure that this game is active. They need to secure the first 2 Drakes, and I think that if Fnatic can take it easy until the 3rd Drake, their composition just wins if they're just in the same spot on the same screen. This is going to be, hopefully for Mad Lions, a very effective and clean game from the get-go, but Fnatic has time on their side. This Rolex is going to tick for them and is going to shine later on in the game.
This game is incredibly important, with Heretics and XL losing earlier today, sitting at 2 and 5. The winner of Fnatic and Mad Lions is 1 step closer to the group stage, is 1 step closer to those best of 3s. And for Fnatic, that might be one of the biggest surprises of 2023. Let's find out who picks up the win as we hit the ref for Fnatic versus Mad. Nailed that.
And the hottest game, level 1, coming out.
Olaf top, baby, with the Ghost. See how much he can get done. Man, looking for a cheeky little level 1. Walking into the top side. Ooh. A lot of shouty fans today.
All right, just for anyone who ever wants to come to the Berlin studio, stomps are OP. I think it's hollow under our stage, so stomps in terms of noise making, very OP. But we'll see how the meta evolves throughout the day.
The chanting meta.
Chanting meta, something we have to track. So, we have a brief moment of calm. You heard about the compositions breakdown. You've heard a bit about the stakes already, but reminder, both these teams in this massive tie for 7th, that was slightly broken earlier today as XL did find that loss, but they need to win. This is not do or die, but it really starts to feel like it because every other one of their upcoming opponents is a tougher challenge. These are the only teams in that tie, at least again before the games earlier today, that were tied for 7th in that 4-way tie who directly play each other. So this win is essentially double value because you push yourself up 1 and you knock one of your opposition down 1 as well. This is huge for both of these squads.
It really is. The winner here gets in the race for the top 8. The loser here is sitting at the bottom of the table. And yeah, like you said, they're competitors against each other in terms of pushing each other out. It's not like you're playing a top team. You're playing against someone you're tied with. You're going to be pushed down next to XL and Heretics if you lose this. And if you win, you're going to push yourself 1 step closer to that top 8. So important game. Fnatic have gone for a little bit, I don't want to say risky, but an out there pick in the Olaf. We'll see how much he can get done. Definitely, I think the Olaf is really good against their comp. Gnar, Nautilus can't really do anything against Olaf. Sylas can't really do anything against Olaf either. It's on Kazi to get this Olaf down, and Fnatic have a lot of backline damage. We were talking about it. How is Kazi going to dive into Sejuani Braum? It's going to be really hard for him. But Fnatic, Jinx, Azir. Don't think I have to tell you guys what those 2 champions want to do. They just want to sit back, relax, and grab themselves a beverage until they get 3 items. And it's on the Olaf, Sejuani, Braum to be that beefy frontline.
And a lot of pressure on the side of Mad Lions to make an impact in the early to mid game, to not let Fnatic scale comfortably. we saw a previous game Vitality versus BDS that ultimately scaling did win out. See if Fnatic can replicate that, maybe with a few less hiccups in the mid game, or if Mad Lions will be able to snowball. Certainly have a lot of tools to get stuff done in the early game when you've got something like the Lee Sin, but Lee Sin in this Sejuani can be a bit tough. Hard to one-shot that champion.
It is a bit of an annoying matchup for the Lee Sin, but once you get more tenacity, like Merc Trez and Legend Tenacity stacked up, it becomes really easy of a matchup. Get towards that Black Cleaver as well. So Razork's clearing out his top camps, Elyoya is on the opposite side. Razork kind of wants to play around both solo lanes ideally, and try to cover mid.
And Razork is the guy that we have to talk about because everyone will remember that Vi performance from last week. This man, absolute monster in week 2. I feel like the big reason that Fnatic are looking to try and mount this comeback here in the final week, looking to secure that position in the top 8, it is on the back of Razork. Not that other people didn't help, but this is the guy who really showed up for the team. Have to see if he can do the same on Sejuani. Much less of a champion that can play for itself like the Vi can, much more of an enabler for the team overall. But him having a big game is going to be crucial, especially when you look at the opposite side, which is Elyoya, a guy who we know on reputation should be a massive, massive threat, but I think has been struggling a little bit in the last few games, and it's part of the reason why Mad haven't been able to find themselves back at the top like they did when we look back to Winter.
Yeah, Mad as a whole has really been struggling, just pure inconsistency across the board. Feels like it's a snowball effect. When 1 or 2 lanes are struggling, the rest just fall apart with them. But you're completely right. Razork's stats been inflated by that Vi game he had in their win, but still, it's really impressive to see the fact that they're at the bottom of the table. He's been struggling, and now he has games like that. So sneaky Elyoya here has found his way around. They know that the Tribush is warded, probably because of how long Oscar took to ward it in Fog. Ghost though.
Flash.
Yeah, here Chasey has to hit this stun really.
Walking up, Ghost now coming out. Elyoya gonna fish for a slow, forcing the flash as well as the Ghost. So successful early play there.
Yeah, the problem he has here is he has to stay. That wave's coming. There's no way he can take this base. Is there? He's scared of a dive. Oh, he's gonna lose so much. So he stopped his base. Mad Hunt's gonna go for the redive. They get his flash, but he manages to catch the wave. So in essence, he doesn't really lose too much, just the summoners, which will come back to bite him, but he will get closer and closer to that level 6. Fnatic trying to get this bot wave in so they can take a base, but Hylissang's already recalled, so he's going to be first out towards mid. Niski's going to TP back. We'll see if they can pressure Humanoid, but I think he's also going to take a base after this wave.
Yeah. So essentially free recall here coming in for Reckless and Advian. Advian recalling slightly after, I think, just to see if Carzzy was going to force the wave, knowing that he had to catch it, knowing he had to stall that so Reckless could get back in time. But Hylissang is a man out here to cancel bases. What else is he here to do? It's unclear, but we know that if you recall in front of him, there's nothing sweeter to Hylissang than canceling a recall. He'll burn an Ignite, he'll burn a Flash, he'll burn his own damn life if he has to. He will cancel that recall.
He's just a robot programmed. Your mission, cancel bases. Everything else is a side quest. Razork here covering mid. Niski being over that level 6. Both have the Emperor's Divide if Niski wants to take that away. Niski's got some good ults to work with, but I don't think it matters against champions like Olaf and Jinx in his ear. You know, the Brown ult's not going to reach the back line, and the Sejuani ult's not really going to do anything to the Olaf. See if he can land it onto Reckless, who also had a pretty good performance in week 2 alongside Humanoid. I felt like the carries really stepped up, so we'll see what they can do in this game.
Yeah, and I think carries on both sides of the bot lane at least set up to be highly impactful, and not a surprise when you look at the names present. Reckless obviously more of a historic name, but if you see that performance last week, you're starting to get the glimmers of hope for the return to form here, as well as up against Carzzy. Carzzy smashing it in damage per minute. Obviously, Reckless really only those 1 or 2 good games last week starting to turn around those statistics, but both these guys catalysts for success for their team.
Yeah, context for the stats here. Carzzy's played a lot of Varus, poke champ, and Reckless I feel like has been sold a lot in bot lane. Oftentimes Advian would roam towards mid and just sacrifice so much in his bot side that he would lose creeps and therefore just be put behind. That didn't happen last week, but Razork's going in.
Right, breaking out. Razork now dashing out to safety. Mad committing some resources there, but not too much overall.
Yeah, don't manage to get the Drake either. Ignite pop there by Hilly. Razork doesn't have to use the flash. Humanoid should be a bit careful here. His jungler's on red and he knows that the jungle support's on the bot side of the map next to him. Or so he thinks. So that Niski's just trying to fake pressure him away, but Humanoid doesn't even flinch. I think there's the looming threat of what if Nautilus and Lee Sin are on the bot side like they were 5 seconds ago. But he calls the bluff. They actually recalled and they're moving out towards the top side here. Elyoya is trying to get through his second clear to get that level 6. Really important if he wants to find a kill, but we'll see if he revisits top. I think it's really hard to kill the Olaf without flash because of the ultimate. But if he gets chunked out like this by Chasey, there is an angle for it. The kick not really used for displacement, but more for damage.
Yeah. And overall right now, I think Chasey's going to be happy. Just trying to zone Oscar in and away. Dead even lane as Elyoya is going to try the same gank once again, just wandering around this little pocket of vision, but this time around, of course, warded out, so Olaf will at least get a little bit of a heads up here. So tough to capitalize on the regank here. Ghost going to be up in 20, 30 seconds. Flash a little bit further away, but when you've got the ultimate, Ghost is more than enough to get you out.
No dive call made, no information as to where Razork is, but he's hit over towards level 6. I feel like Fnatic's bot side 3v3 is really powerful. Sejuani Braum, level 5, level 6, just has so much base damage and chain CC that it's really hard to win if you're playing champions like Nautilus. So I would love to see Razork, yeah, just lean down towards his bot side, sweep out the vision that could be in this tri-bush, and then try to force some kind of 3v3 Humanoid though.
Sidestep, push back, coming out. Humanoid pushing away as the kick now comes out. Humanoid dashing out to safety, so they get the flash, but I kind of like the patience coming in from Humanoid. Knew that if he tried to dash out too early, he would get pushed back, so played that one as slow as he could.
Yeah, he was getting blocked by the champion, so he just pushes Elyoya away, flashes away from Nisqy, and then manages to get the dash. Nisqy can't block it with his own flash because he had to engage it. Hylissang face checking here. Sejuani Braum, baby, he needs to be careful.
Which should just be an instant stun follow-up. Razork comes in for the kill, and it is just that easy. You highlighted it. Sejuani Braum, immediate, reliable chain CC.
This is the problem with 1-2ing Nautilus. Braum is just such a negator of the champ. You go even in the lane, no matter what AD carry you can pick. And in the early game skirmishes, you have no chance whatsoever. Just to rub some salt into the wound, the Sejuani next to him means, of course, you can keep layering those passives. Chasey is getting Oscar low, but Oscar can turn this because he's Olaf. You know, he gets that lifesteal, lower HP is, the attack speed, all that jazz with the shield. Yeah, just gets the wave and gets out. No harm done, has to use the Ghost though. Fnatic off to a good early game lead.
Yep, and again, Mad Lion's finding a lot of small trades, getting some flashes, getting some summoners here and there, but Fnatic able to grab that kill on the bottom lane is big. Reckless already 400 gold ahead, and of course Jinx, champion who not only hyper scales but hyper snowballs. When she starts to get a lead, can start to take those turrets down, knock that out of the equation, and can get out of hand so quickly.
Can indeed. Gonna get towards that Kraken Slayer. Might have a very skirmish heavy comp, very mid game heavy. They want to look for fights, engage, just go forwards non-stop. Fnatic want to keep them at arm's length, and ideally Mad want to find an early game lead with these champions as well, but it looks like Fnatic are quick to respond to the Herald. Karzi's running towards bot, Reckless is resetting. And I think, yeah, Fnatic can just stop this in the tracks. Level 6 Braum, level 5 Nautilus. They don't really have the tools to fight this. No Kraken Slayer just yet for Reckless.
Yeah. And again, the path to victory for Fnatic, scaling, front-to-back team fighting with these champions, with the Braum and the Sejuani specifically. It's pretty hard to flank this team as well, even though Lee Sin kick, a Gnar ultimate can be big. On the opposite side for Mad Lions, it's a difficult draft. They get to 1 items. Again, similar story to the Vitality BDS game last time around. They've got a lot of individual champion agency. You know, Nautilus into the Kaisa if Braum is not there. Fnatic misstep. It's so easy for Mad to punish. They have so many great tools, but again, Mad, if they overcommit, if they overengage against a Braum, against a Sejuani, you're not coming out of that fight.
Really important game for both teams, so Fnatic want to take it slow. That's exactly what's happening here. Elyoya needs to force this down, so he's going to queue over, start up the Herald. What's Razork on the minimap? What's he going to do? Is he going to move up towards his top side, or is he going to look for Hylissang on the rotation up? I think they know Hylissang's moving here, so they're going to go on him.
Hylissang flashing out, hooking into the wall, will walk away safely. Chasey gets a bit more aggressive on the top side, and again, fighting back and forth. Just getting Olaf ult out as much as possible.
3 ults used there, Razork, Oscar, and Humanoid. Actually not too bad for Hilly. Flashing away and getting 2 ults from the mid-jungle means that they can't move back up towards the top side and collapse on Elyoya. But maybe they can look for something bot. Razork's going to take the crab. He knows exactly where Elyoya is. He's not basing and covering bot. He's just allowing them to play in isolation. Maybe he thinks they have enough wave clear at this point on Nisqy can cover, but no, here comes the recall. He's going to come down towards this bot side to make sure that they're safe. Razork might get the blue, but
stolen ultimate. Razork going to dash out to safety.
Nisqy pushing him back there, trying to save his jungler's buff. Maybe they're trying to leash it for him, but Razork has the vision to steal it, but he's going to actually do the opposite. He's going to wait for Nisqy to come back to this lane and try to get his flash. She's down, maybe looking for the kill, but I think they know here. Matt saw them walk in.
Elyoya going to go in with the Q. We'll walk away. Now keep in mind, in the meantime, Elyoya did take the Herald, but I think Reckless grabbed a single plate, and looks like Humanoid's been able to grab 2, so still a positive gold trade overall. Fnatic not hurting from that one whatsoever yet.
Reckless used the ult there on Karzi, just chunking him out. I think Reckless can look to stay and push in more, but I think taking the base is the safest option. His jungle support are just so far away. Should have that Mythic in base as well, I expect. And so, yeah, I think the important thing here is if you look at the gold lead on the bottom of the screen, just 1400 for both carries. That's exactly what Fnatic need.
Yeah, again, slow, steady, build the gold leads. You get to 2 or 3 items. These fights should be pretty easy. Ro's going to take some time to scale up for Nisqy as well. See what Elyoya can do with this Herald. That is kind of the strong point right now for Mad Lions.
No Mythic for Reckless yet, actually. He didn't have the gold, went for the Longsword Dagger. 1 minute 30 seconds on this next dragon. Mad Lions really need to break this game open quickly. This next Dragon fight, I mean, Fnatic can decide to just give it up if they want, but they're in a pretty prime position to take the fight. I think their champions at this point in the game aren't too weak, despite having so much scaling on your mid and bot. Sejuani Braum really good against the triple melee dive Kai'Sa that Mad Lions have drafted here. So let's see how they decide to play it out. They don't have a Herald, so it's really hard for them to cross map, so they might as well try. There's nothing else to do on the map. But Mad have a lot of vision. Humanoid's flash is coming up soon.
And Humanoid's going to be really important here because he's really the only one who's been able to spend that money in a meaningful way. Because while Reckless is 700 gold ahead, it's just bits and pieces. Not able to finish Mythic, doesn't have that extra passive. Meanwhile, on the top side, Oscarinen getting the Ravenous makes his wave clear that much better, and he can start to really threaten Chasey or out-trade. Chasey now needs to back away from this one, just running through. Axe gonna go a bit wide and respect the confidence from Oscarinen. Chasey still has the TP, but he's gonna heal up so fast off this wave.
Oh, El Yoyo's on the way. He has no ult.
TP is available for Chasey as well.
Does he have the burst here? I think he does. Maybe Ward Jump QRQ is enough.
Oscarinen. Whoa, the Ghost coming out. He has to sidestep. I think the whiff. I think El Yoyo just has to be happy with the summoner and walk away.
That's a casual Q right there. Just going absolutely wide. Doesn't decide to commit with the Ward Jump kick. Razork's here now. He should win out, actually. Base damage Kingdom. Doesn't get the crab. El Yoyo maybe looking for a kick flash.
It's split right now. Razork caught between the midst of the entire team. Body block coming in from Chasey. Does not want to give him an opportunity to get over the wall. The flash out to safety. Now trying to get the blast go, but Chasey's here again! This man, the perfect defender!
Oh, Oscar has to flash here.
Oscar needs to get out, but El Yoyo comes over the wall with him, trying to finish the job, but doesn't quite get the damage down. Iron Spike Whip not connecting, neither does the Tempest.
Greedy from Razork, tries to steal away the crab, but he uses his Q to make sure that he can get in range to try to steal it. Fails to steal, and El Yoyo punishes him. Hilly no flash.
Slide, glide, push him right back in, and down goes Hillisang.
Ooh, 2-0 Jinx, 1k gold lead, 40 minutes in. It's good that Mad Lions have found their first kill, but they've got a problem on the bot side of the map right now, so they're going to try to push down mid. Platings have fallen off, but they should be able to get a full tower from this. The Azir can put the tower up if they try to look for any kind of dive, but they're going to commit to this. Razork's on the way. He has ult.
No, I like the play.
In time.
It sucks to lose out on the plate goal, but breaking that entire mid lane tower is massive. You do not want to let that Azir just sit in mid and farm comfortably.
They're going to get bot tower as well, though, here, Fnatic. I think Chasey managed to get that top tower too, so 3 towers have fallen in the last 10 seconds. Bot side for Mad, mid and top for Fnatic have fallen. Looks like they can pick up the Drake off the back of this. Reckless must be sitting on a lot of gold.
Yeah.
And I think mid tower is really low for Mad as well, so Fnatic should be able to respond in kind soon. TP coming in from Humanoid, maybe a bit uncertain as to whether Mad is giving this up, and the answer is...
Helsing on the way in. Blade Seeker from the Kai'Sa not going to spawn anybody else out.
Yeah, they have to.
Are going to concede it.
2 dragons.
2 dragons big.
Yeah, playing a Jinx lane, 2 dragons, sitting pretty comfortably. 20 minutes until Mad Lions can even think of a soul. 35 minutes in the game, you're facing a 0 Jinx, so I think, yeah, no soul for Mad Lions this game unless this turns into a bit of a fiasco. So, yeah, the Kraken Slayer for Reckless picked up the Zeal. This Jinx is getting really, really powerful. Put the Jinx in mid, control the rest of the map on sides, and try to get this mid tower as Fnatic's plan. Mad need to put a stop in it.
I like these lane assignments too. Setting up for the 1-3-1. Reckless Advian, such a strong mid lane combo. Really hard to get these champions out of the lane. They've got so much wave clear that really you do not have the tools to match on the opposite side for Mad. All very short range champions. When it comes to stalling the game, Fnatic will be able to keep this one slow for as long as they want to. That said, Advian needs to be in the area before Reckless can really step up. Right now he's made his home on top side, maybe hoping to catch out and punish somebody. Mad choosing to put the Sylas into the Olaf, opting to put the Gnar down against the Azir.
We'll see how those lane assignments work, but this mid tower being down hurts Fnatic a lot. Of course, we're on 13.4 here in Europe. Every other region, I think, is on 13.5, but this is the last weekend we will be on 13.4. Big changes, you know, Azir nerfs changes or so, the Kennen buffs, the Yuumi changes, all those things are to come in group stage, so it works, right, playing the Azir. We saw it last game, we saw it this game. It'll get you to group stage, but then you're going to have to think of a different plan because this champ won't be pickable, it won't be meta. But right now it is, so that might be something that people are curious about as to whether Azir is being played. It is still 13.4. It is something that Fnatic are running, and they might be able to pick up a win with it. Europe just I think Europe succeeds with just scaling comps front to back. Saw it last game, was seeing it here.
And I think Azir is the only control mage in the game that has this much proactive playmaking. There is no other control mage that can solo initiate or start plays. Like Orianna, you basically have to walk into the ball or be very close to her. Victor is very, very reactive. I mean, anything else on the list isn't even played in competitive, so see how it adjusts as we get closer to group stage. But for now, Niski, they're getting the flash out early. Ulti traded back, though. Are they going to be able to take this Herald, just punch it in the eye, and they get it? Nice leash coming in from Mad Lions. Mad now want to keep this fight going. Oscar and debating, is it time to go in? Oh, you're going to be in trouble here very quickly. Concussive blows from the Braum will be massive as this fight continues down. Reckless off to the side, flashing out. Can he cleanse? Can he get anything done? He doesn't have the cleanse. He's got nothing. Just gets taken out, opting for the heal, punishing him that fight. Humanoid now looking to finish off Chasey. In the meantime, Oscar in the midst of everybody. Oscar is going to be big. They need to shred through Carzzy. Carzzy needs to get out of there. That is a strong Olaf flashing to safety. Sidestepping on the axe is big. Niski now in the face of Humanoid. Humanoid is going to get taken down. It is Niski versus the world. Oscar needs to run. Abscond Abduct will not connect. The heal needs to come in, but the Olaf is so strong!
Oscar! Can he pull it off? What's the Q cooldown? 3 seconds. Carzzy's going to back. Oscar's going to back. What a mess. Looks like it's a 3-for-4 in favor of Fnatic, I think. Razork, Humanoid, and Reckless falling. Advien based at the end of the play. God, I think Fnatic just sold Reckless a bit there, going a bit too deep, Razork and Advien. I think they realized quite quickly, if we keep our eyes on Reckless here, that they've left their Jinx out to dry a bit, because they see the Lee Sin and they think, wow, this could be a good play. If we just get the jungler down quickly, we can start going forwards from there onwards. But then Reckless is just left all alone, you know. Then Advien realizes, oh, hang on a second, this is a big mistake. Tries to get back to his AD carry by flashing towards him, and then Carzzy can dive in. No shield is up, and then it all comes down to Oscar and Humanoid. Humanoid's 1v1ing Chasey off to the right and eventually kills him, and Oscar and Advien just doing work in this 2v3. Niski saving Mad Lions, though.
Yeah, and there are League of Legends games where we get to see strong, you know, front to back versus front to back. You know, battle lines drawn, muskets at the ready. You know, wait till you see the whites of their eyes kind of gameplay. This is a bar fight. This is an all-out brawl. It was split. Backlines were left isolated. That was chaos. And if Mad Lions keep finding fights like that, that is good for them, because I don't think Fnatic really got to show what their composition could do in that fight. It was so scattered. Now Hylissang again. Fishing for a bit of engage here, just trying to take Razork out of the equation.
Trying to stop Humanoid from getting this top tower. Look at Humanoid's build. He's going full glass cannon. Rabadon second. Should be able to dash out here. I don't think Niski can get there in range in time. 50 seconds on the Dragon. Ready for another bar fight. Just grab a ball and smash it over someone's head. I think it's exactly what Mad Lions want to do. Looking for Razork. Elioyo's off onto Reckless, though.
First on the list, the stun, the final because it blows. Reckless again, kicked into the middle of the team. Reckless knocked up. The CC layering. Flawless from the side of Mad Lions, and Chasey's still alive! The little Gnar just throwing down damage. Boomerangs left and right. Humanoid with the Sand Soldiers. Trying to provide the dissuasion. Oh, Hylissang going in. Nice sidestep from Humanoid, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Elioyo waiting as long as possible to go on to the kick. Advien body blocking as much as he can. Unbreakable. Huge in that exchange. Hylissang gets taken down.
Really, really low, the Azir. Mad Lions, they know that the Azir is low, so they're going to start stepping up here. It's on Oscar if they want to carry this fight. Can they 3v4 this? I think they can. Oscar's probably calling it. He's walking up. He's saying, let's fight this. Humanoid's regenning slowly.
The CC layering again from Sejuani plus the Braum. With the Olaf sustain, it is possible. It is still incredibly difficult, but Reckless now respawning. The rocket up and available.
Ooh, do they take it? Do they take it? Razork has Smite, he has Flash. I think they just try, you know, poke their way in.
Stolen Herald coming out in mid lane. They're going to break mid for sure. The question is, are Mad willing to back off the Dragon to try and stop it? They will not.
Where's the rocket going? I think they can take this fight. Here's the rocket. A lot of damage incoming.
Rocket, big onto Carzzy. Carzzy incredibly low now. Oscar! In the midst of everyone! Razork jumping in as well, and again, another objective least! Fnatic laughing to the bank as they find another fight in their favor.
They're going to get Baron as well off of this. This is 2 members down for 30 seconds. They have Azir, Jinx. They're going to melt straight through this. Can Mad Lions fight in this 3 versus 5? Fnatic, do you want to gamble a Baron right now? Very risky. Humanoid's going to heal up. They can melt through it, but if Mad steal this, that's their avenue back in the game. What do they have to stop him? I think Humanoid's going to have to dash over and push the Lee Sin backwards.
Getting lower and lower.
Nice block from Advien. Oh god, this could all fall apart here. Just turret, it looks like.
Over the wall. Humanoid now going to knock him back into the team, and instantly down goes Niski. Shut down for Reckless, and now he's getting excited. Fnatic fans getting excited. Is Mad Lions again getting picked apart.
Great turn. They never wanted the Baron in the first place. You can see with another 2 kills, they're just going to back away. Fnatic playing these fights to perfection, and again, I don't know what Reckless can really do in these fights. Advien goes forwards again, and now he's left his AD carry alone. And then I think he realizes he's left Reckless alone. Razork blocks the Q, which is good, but the Jinx is dead. Advien's too late to respond, but then it's the Humanoid show, isn't it? And once Humanoid starts poking them out and tanks a lot of damage, look how cocky he plays here. He just walks up in front of Hylissang, just dodges the hook in his face, just making sure he can chunk them and get this mid-wave in. And then once Humanoid gets really chunked out and low HP, it becomes the Oscar show from that point onwards. Yep. This turn was great. I thought it was Humanoid who would go first, but it's Razork who's saying, let's not flip this, let's just try to look for the kills. Niski's just way too far up with no flash. Jumps over the wall with the ult. Humanoid follows very quickly, so great turn by Fnatic.
Excellent again. Humanoid with the pushback, locking up Niski. Niski lacking most defensive options at this point in the game, and Hylissang again getting picked off. Fnatic's composition if it starts to win a team fight, if you find a single kill, the resets from the Jinx, the passive from Sejuani, as well as the Olaf, these additional stuns coming in, the E from the Sejuani, passive from the Braum, rather, make it so impossible. Olaf as well, these are champions who, yeah, you gotta kill them real fast or the fight is over.
It is, and great performance so far from Oscar. Was a liability in week 1. Week 2 was an improvement. Week 3 here, he's a carry. Razor getting Hylissang's flash. You can see the confidence that this player is slowly building and building. Radiant Virtue and Hydra, 2 items strong, 4-0-4. And I think he is found. Let's see what if he can find Chasey here.
Threatening. Fnatic now looking to engage there. They know they can play patient, don't need to force anything into the Mega Gnar. Reckless getting stronger and stronger, 2.5 items. But he's 3-2-6. He's been picked off in every fight. Reckless hasn't really participated in the vast majority of fights thus far. It really has been Humanoid and Oscarinen doing the damage. So I think things only get harder for Mad Lions. We're starting to cross the threshold where Advian probably just has to kind of pocket Reckless, just stand on top and be there to defend. See if he wants to do that though, because again, Oscarinen so strong that you could just go in with the Olaf.
I think the ideal situation is Razork and Oscar are diving in, and Humanoid and Advian are next to Reckless. And I think this 3 core of the 2 carries with the Braum should be enough to stop the Kai'Sa and also have the pushback for the Lee Sin. But yeah, Reckless has been split up a lot in these fights. Just Advian's been pocketing Razork most of the time, which has been working because you're next to the Olaf and you can start melting through their front line. But of course, the later the game goes, the more important it is to keep the Jinx alive. So we'll see how they play around it. I think Fnatic are very happy with the game slowing down. 1 minute 45 on their soul. Oscar wins this 1v1, so Niski's just going to throw the ult, get the wave, and back out. They don't have TP, so juggling this side lane here for Oscar is a bit tricky, but he hasn't lost the tower yet. And yeah, Fnatic are just going to stall until that soul, I believe.
Yeah. And I'm really loving this Braum pick. I gotta say, I feel like it's just doing so much for this team overall. And I like it when you can pair it with something more aggressive in the early to mid game, because late game we know it's a monster. Late game, Unbreakable, Braum's E, one of the most broken abilities in the game. If you deny the damage output of an 80 carry in a fight, that's like a 30k gold, 40k gold ability. That's a bit of an exaggeration.
30k gold.
20k gold ability.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine just your 80 carry builds 6 items and a Braum sits there and tanks 8 of them?
You know the treasure chests in TFT, did you ever play them? Where you had like the pirate chest and you just like go on streaks, and after like 15 streaks you just get like a massive amount of gold. Imagine a champ that just sits at level 1 for 20 minutes, but if he gets level 1 with no death, he gets 20 minutes with no deaths, he just like opens up like 6 legendary items for your team or something.
Yeah, that's champion's Kale. And there's a reason that I never want to see it in pro.
Yeah,
they adjusted it a little bit so it's less feast or famine, but that's that champion where if you're not one-tricking it, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, Kale and Kassadin.
Yeah.
So Fnatic still stalling for this Drake. Bit tricky here because they're going to lose this top tier too by the looks of it. No, it looks like the wave wasn't big enough, but yeah, they put Humanoid on the side lane. So what Matt are saying is, if you go to Drake, we're going to rush down Nash. And now Fnatic realize, yeah, not really happy with that trade. Gonna walk in here and start pushing them out, put a little bit of vision down, but yeah, I feel like Fnatic's draft is just better. They just have really good tools when Mad Lions want to dive in, and they have better scaling and much more wave clear. So as long as Mad don't kind of dive bot 3 or 4 times in the early stages or push Humanoid back to the point where he loses flash and Niski can start roaming towards sides, doesn't feel like they're under that much pressure. So here comes the Baron rush for Mad. The damage is a bit low. The Kai'Sa is the majority of it. Niski and Chasey off to the side.
This is definitely a bait. They got 2 members off to the flank. Reckless! Oh no, Reckless! They didn't see it coming. He flashes out to safety. They're still going to try and turn the fight, but it's instantly coursing to the backside, trying to finish off an 80 carry. But now, the 3-man core, Advian, Humor, and Reckless standing strong. And they're coming in to finish the job. But it does not matter. This time, the team was there for Reckless, and in turn, he will take the fight for them. He goes down to the end, but they're still going to win the fight. They can turn back to the Baron if they want to.
Much better from Fnatic when it comes to dealing with these divers. You can see Humanoid's ready with the pushback. Reckless loses his flash at the beginning, which wasn't ideal, but Advian blocks Karzi's dive, and then the Humanoid trades back when Karzi goes in. That's the idea behind these champions, and it works. They split up their focus here. 2-man for the Dragon, 2-man for the Baron. They should pick up Soul and Nash, and I think this is this game is going to become really, really tough here for Mad. You can see Karzi's building daggers just to get his E upgrade, but just look at Reckless, because this is basically the entirety of the game, because Mad want to dive on him and Fnatic want to protect him here. Bit isolated, gets caught out, uses the flash, but look how they play with him. Oscar goes forwards, Advian and Humanoid go backwards. That's exactly how they want to play it, because as soon as he dives in, watch Advian jumps onto Reckless, blocks his damage, the Jinx is safe. Has the pushback, maybe a little bit overcommittal in terms of getting the kill, but still makes it so Elyoya has to dash away. Good play by Elyoya. Flash Q. Oh, look how he threads that onto Reckless to get the kill, but the problem is the rest of his team is just dead. Niski's dead to Razork. Oscar's 1v2ing Chasey and Hilly. They didn't really get in this fight whatsoever. So Fnatic staying together a lot more.
Yeah, and the game plan for the team fights is just so simple. And now you've got Ocean Soul and Baron. This game is over. Mad Lions getting picked apart in the jungle. This is not what they needed. Hilly trying to make it out to safety, but there's too much CC. Hilly gonna go down. The mid push online. This is a Jinx. This is not a champion you can sit and wave clear against. Fnatic are doing a victory lap. It will take a miracle from Mad Lions to find a way back in this game.
You know how you talked about bar fight? You know the movies when they walk into the bar and like the main character just destroys like 6 guys for no reason, just annihilates through 6 dudes? That's Oscar Rinnan.
He's Jack Reacher. He's Tom Cruise. It's Mission Impossible.
He's just like using 2 fingers, boom, on the back of the neck, they're knocked out. That's exactly what's happening
in this
here.
case, he's got axes, but I will say bar fight Olaf with some bottles. Just,
sounds messy, doesn't it?
Option.
But he's not died yet, surprisingly, on the Olaf, so really good performance from him, frontlining well, dealing with Mad Lions' backline very well. So Mad just have to engage. There's nothing else to do here. Niski's going to go around the side, just full send. Hilly's coming from base.
Over the wall.
But he's on a ward, so it becomes really complicated. Razork,
he doesn't do enough damage to hurt Razork. He can't turn on him, and if Olaf walks in, he's dead.
It's horrible, isn't it?
There's
Mad
no
can't do
room to
anything.
play, and Niski dead. Fnatic can just focus on the tower or the champions or do whatever they like. It's their rift. We're all just watching it. Mad Lions.
Razork
overextending. That's an opportunity now for Mad Lions potentially in the game. The siege should just continue, however. It's a 1-for-1 overall, but Razork definitely over-eager in that exchange.
Bit too deep, buddy. Tries to look for the tower there, but no wave to play on. Reckless can't step up because he has no flash. Hilly, a couple more inches and he had that one. Chasey looks... Chase looks for Oscar. Reckless is going to get Hilly. Oh, one more auto. Very close.
One tower down. Reckless now excited. Going to run forward, try to finish off Hilly. Oscar Rinnan going to walk in and take this tower. Again, they're so far ahead. They have an Ocean Soul and a Baron.
They're going to heal through all the damage, can't they? They need Niski to be up. They need Nautilus Orb. They need something that can help them dive onto the Jinx with no flash. But Fnatic won't give it to them. They're just going to back away. Take the inhibitors, recall, reset, spend their gold, keep the timer ticking. And yeah, the outscaling, it's only getting better and better.
Yep. And a win for Fnatic in this case pushes their lock-in percentages, or the amount of remaining scenarios where they lock in, up by 25%, which is pretty massive. And I gotta say, big credit to Fnatic. They have been under the microscope for the entirety of winter into the entirety of spring. People have been wanting more from this team. They found that win last week. And now, you know, kind of outdrafting Mad Lions, and they're performing well as a unit. What an incredible turnaround. Now, the season isn't over. They can still finish 9th or 10th. But this is a very promising sign for Fnatic fans who have been begging for more.
It's been a drought, hasn't it, of wins. Fnatic have really been struggling to find absolutely anything. Nothing's worked. The community was very critical of the changes. The first week was an absolute train wreck, but a lot of reasons, you know, incorporating new players in a week's time, stage jitters, they were all sick, so I'm not saying these are excuses, but I think hindering reasons as to why they weren't performing. But this game is much better.
And reasons that it's more impressive that they've been able to perform this well on stage. I think it's safe to say for Mad Lions, it's crushing. They're not able to find that form. I think they drafted themselves a much more difficult composition to play, and now that they're in it whole, it is really hard to climb out against the composition Fnatic have brought to bear.
Just sieging this top tier 3 here. Jinx using the rockets to make sure she's at max range. Reckless almost has that flash up again. Karzi's flash is coming up soon. Niski's going to take a recall. I think Mad might have to engage here soon. Razork's going first.
Going to find Karzi, but Karzi quick to cleanse out of that one.
Niski has the stopwatch. Chasey has the Mega. Is this the time they go for, TP? They're going to see the Gnar TPing in their face, so Fnatic should know that there's a flank happening. So going forwards.
Walking into the base. Razork now watching on the backside. Humanoid watching on the backside as well.
A tower.
Trying to corral them. Chasey not going to get pushed away. That's one major defensive cooldown down. Mad Lions, there's not really an angle to fight here because Oscar Rinnan is just going in. He's an absolute monster. Karzi now leaping away, but the Unbreakable says not today, Fnatic. It's an easy team fight, denying the last little bits of hope from the Mad Lions. Coming in clutch, outscaling and outperforming. 61K to 59, they got a Cloud Soul, they got a win. They move up to 3.